This video shows the buildup of tanks, troops, and equipment along Israel's border with Gaza. Israel has called up thousands of reservists for what many here believe could be a ground invasion into Gaza after days of constant rocket fire.
And we are prepared for any potential scenario as the military, and additional guidance we'll get from the political level. But we'll do whatever is necessary, whatever we can do to make sure that people can sleep in their homes and that what you're seeing here doesn't happen.
Since Monday, Hamas and other Palestinian terror groups from the Gaza Strip, about 2 miles behind me, have fired around 2,000 rockets into southern and central Israel. But it's becoming clear Israel is not just fighting these Palestinian groups, but the one who funds, arms, and supports them, the Islamic Republic of Iran. This is a Palestinian Islamic Jihad official boasting of its relationship with Iran.
The Mujahideen in Gaza and in Lebanon use Iranian weapons to strike the Zionists. We buy our weapons with Iranian money. An important part of our activity is under the supervision of Iranian experts. I'm not sorry. I'm proud to say that the rockets that are used to pound Tel Aviv have an Iranian signature on them, the signature of Qasem Soleimani.
With Iran's support for the terrorists, more than 1 million Israelis are living under the threat of rockets falling at any moment.
Put it in park, put it in park.
This is the town of Ofakim near the border. Our CBN News crew hit the ground when we heard the red alert alarm. Well, that's what it's like for Israelis down here in southern Israel. We're in a town called Ofakim. We heard the red alert called Seva Adom. We had to stop the car, get out, and just lay on the ground. That's what Israelis have been doing for several days now, and maybe several more, depending on what happens inside the Gaza Strip. Moments later, the siren sounded again, and this time we joined Israelis rushing for the nearest bomb shelter. Naama Gigi shared what life is like with this constant threat.
It's terrifying. It's terrifying. I'm live here, but I'm working near to Gaza, Israel-Gaza border, and then there we have 10 seconds. So I remember a year ago, 2 years ago actually, when siren was on, and we just took babies and ran inside the bomb shelter, and you don't have time to think.
With no sign that Hamas and other terror groups are willing to stop the rocket fire, it appears Israel is now willing to put boots on the ground to end this conflict.
Well, Chris joins us now from Jerusalem. And Chris, what's the chance that a ground invasion of Gaza can be avoided?
Well, we'll see, Gordon. You know, they have about maybe 17,000 reservists and troops there on the border right now. But I would say that a ground invasion is a last resort for Israel. It's urban warfare at its worst. You have ambushes, underground tunnels. In 2014, when they last went in, it was very, very difficult fighting. And I know Israeli leaders want to avoid that. But on the other hand, with thousands of troops on the border, Israeli leaders may have already calculated that. And I would add this, Gordon, you know, it really seems like Israelis military and political leaders really want to make a statement here, and they want to push back Hamas. So this is not going to happen anytime soon again. Tragically, when we talk to people on the southern borders there, the southern communities on the southern border, they really think it's not going to end. It may quiet down for for a while, but they've been living this with this kind of scenario for about 20 years.
Wow. Well, many of these rockets into Israel have been intercepted by the Iron Dome defense system. For those who don't know how that works or what that is, can you describe it for us, Chris?
Well, it's sort of the equivalent of a bullet hitting a bullet. And when we went down there to the southern communities, you knew when you were in range because you could actually see in the sky these little puffs of smoke. And what that is the Iron Dome hitting these rockets. It's really amazing to watch it in action. You can actually see the Iron Dome missile follow these rockets and sort of even go in a curlicue or in a curve, and they can hit these rockets. So it's just a technological marvel that we're seeing. We saw it numerous times. We saw it actually right over our heads when we're in this community of YESHA. We saw the Iron Dome streak by. And what it is Israel's response to the mortars and rockets coming out of the Gaza for, about 15 years ago. So they had to come up with something that could do this. And it was a game changer, what's happening there on the southern border. And really, as I said, a technological marvel of what it can do. A bullet hitting a bullet.
Wow.
Well, tell us what it's like personally for you. Here you are. We just saw the report. You hear the sirens. You're traveling to do the report, and you've got to stop the van. You've got to get out and lay on the ground. And then, as I understand it, in that town you were in, you had to take refuge in a bomb shelter as the sirens go off, and you can actually, inside the bomb shelter, hear the rockets going off. What's it like personally?
Well, it really takes it home, Gordon. You can really understand what these Israelis are facing on a daily basis right now. More than 1 million, maybe 2 million people. The idea, when you go into a community like that, you really do a couple of things. First of all, you don't wear a seatbelt. That's one thing. You roll the windows down so you can hear what's called Seva Adom. That's Hebrew for red alert. So when we heard it, we just all of a sudden, you can hear everybody saying, park the car, park the car. And the first thing you have to do is get out on the ground. We didn't know where the first bomb shelter was, or the nearest bomb shelter, the first time we was there. We had actually gone, Gordon, to get some Mexican food. We were literally right beside the restaurant. After that first alarm, we went in to order. Just a few minutes later, the red alert went off again. We ran across the street with all the Israelis. We waited a few minutes. The explosions went off. Then we went back to order our food, and then it went off again. So there were 3 times there in Ofakim where we actually had to go and seek shelter. It really does bring it home. This is what there's a fine line between this and really tragedy. If the Iron Dome didn't intercept most of these rockets and tragically actually hit somewhere in the ground, but they take it very seriously, when they're running, and it's really frightful, as that lady had said, terrifying for many of these people down in south and central Israel, and as far away here in Jerusalem.
Well, tell us about the political ramifications. What does this mean for elections in Israel? What does it mean for trying to form a new government? I think a lot of the opposition to Netanyahu is now back on their heels as a result of this. What's your prediction going forward?
Very much on their heels, Gordon. As you said, Yair Lapid had a mandate. In fact, Monday of this week, he had the mandate. Almost looked like he was going to sign a deal for a coalition government. Then all these rockets started flying out of Gaza. What had happened recently is Naftali Bennett, who really Yair Lapid needs to form a government. He said he's just out of the coalition right now, and with the things happening on the south of Israel with all these rockets, as well as internally there are riots going on. He said there's no way that we can put a coalition together. So there's no political appetite for a center, left, and right coalition. But I would say right now there could be a possibility for a right-wing government. There's pressure on another party called New Hope by Gideon Sa'ar to join the Likud. And then if this happens, there might be a possibility, Gordon, of having a direct vote for prime minister, which would put Netanyahu in power with the possibility of a right-wing government. So really, Yair Lapid and his desire for a coalition, it seems at least temporarily, he's got another 3 weeks or so to form a government, seems off the table. It seems like politically right now, we could be looking at a right-wing government, because I would say across the political spectrum right now, they want to make sure they deal with Hamas and they're unified politically and militarily going forward.
All right. Well, Chris, thanks for the insight. Thanks for joining us. Please stay safe in all your journeys. Well, you at home can always get the latest information from Israel. You can watch Jerusalem Dateline, Chris's weekly show on the CBN News Channel app. Hello, I'm Gordon Robertson. Thanks for watching the video. Be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more encouraging videos like this one. Welcome to the 700 Club Interactive family, and God bless you.